Hey, everybody, welcome to Sunday service. Here we are, 112 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona, and the only place that's hotter than Phoenix, Arizona is Yuma, Arizona. That place is like the devil's armpit. It is so hot, and Steve Crawford, my guest today, is not only a guest of mine, he's also somebody I've done deals with. He is an interesting guest you need to know because he is the perfect example of not overthinking anything when you get into real estate. Today is Sunday, June 13th. Here we are halfway through the freaking year. You guys don't have any more time to waste. You don't have any more time to waste. I promise you that in 5.5, 6 months, it's going to be Christmas time and this year is going to be over. You have no time. So listen today. Steve is going to give you guys some good tips, but I want to kind of intro him a little bit before he tells you a little bit about his own story. And one of my favorite things about Steve is how Steve got into this game. Okay. Now, Steve is, I think, frozen. So I'll kick him off for a minute, but I'll intro him while you guys, while we wait for him to come back in here. Okay. So check this out. The guest today, his name is Steve Crawford. Steve, jump back in here. You're using your phone. I think he doesn't have a computer. This guy is very basic. He's amazing. Something you need to understand is that a year ago, Steve Crawford was Googling how to get rich. Okay. He literally was bypassed at his job down in Yuma, Arizona. He was promised a raise by his boss. His boss did not give him that raise. And in fact, he bypassed him and gave somebody else the promotion, gave somebody else the raise. And that night, Steve Crawford went home and he Googled on his phone, because you guys can tell he doesn't even have a laptop. Steve Crawford Googles how to get rich. Okay, Steve, isn't that right? That's how you got into real estate, is you Googled how to get rich?
Yeah, that's right. I had a tip with my boss and got frustrated. And while I was at work, I started to Google how to get rich. I did not want to work for anybody anymore.
So he Googles how to get rich. And what did Google tell you to do, Steve?
Real estate. Said most people will get rich in real estate. So I started to investigate how to get into real estate without any money, because I didn't have any.
So you Google how to get into real estate. So he Googles how to get rich. And then the next thing Google tells him is get into real estate. So he Googles how to get into real estate.
Yeah.
And what did you find? What kind of things did you find?
Well, I like a lot of talk about like the BRRRR method, house hacking, and all those things, but like you still needed money. So
you need money, you need credit, you need lenders, you need deals at like a super, super deep discount, right? In order for the BRRRR method to work. And even with the BRRRR method, you have to have a lot of money up front. Even if you get your money back after a refinance, you still have to have a lot of money up front. So you're sitting there saying, man, I'm a pilot at a crop dusting farm. Right. I don't have a ton of money to get into this game. So you Googled how to get rich in real estate without any money.
Right. And then that led me to wholesaling.
Ooh, all right. So it led you to wholesaling. What'd you find on Google? What did Google tell you about wholesaling?
Not a whole lot. Like it was weird because the way it's described to somebody who doesn't know anything about real estate, it doesn't seem like it's a real thing. It actually seems kind of fake. So I started to investigate it like on YouTube, and there'd be people who put out videos, but it'd only be bits and pieces, and that's like. I kept looking for like the explanation of how these guys were actually doing it. I could never find it. And then I found the Steve Trang podcast, where he interviews people and goes through exactly how they figured out how to do it.
It's interesting. Steve Trang, still to this day, I get text message. I got a text message today. In fact, here, I should pull it up while I'm talking to you. I haven't replied to this guy. I'll reply to him while we're on the live, but his name is, he says his name is Anthony Rivas. He texted me this morning at 9:48 a.m. This happens to me so frequently. Check this out. I went on Steve Trang's show. I gave away my cell phone. And so I get people that text me literally every single day. I get these text messages. So let's text this guy back. Anthony, thank you so much, bro. Everyone now has your phone number because I'm replying to you on a YouTube live.
Which is only fair, right? Because that's how he got your number.
So guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to reply. Everybody's going to text Anthony Rivas. Okay. Let's text Anthony Rivas and just say, hi, Anthony, you're on YouTube. Okay. I'm going to put this in the side chat, his text. Okay. Everybody text him real quick and just say, hey, Anthony, you're on YouTube. Good to see you. Okay. There's an interesting question. Alan says, Pace, why don't you do apartment buildings? Alan, that's a great question. What information or what book or what video did you read or hear that you said I don't own apartment buildings? That's an awesome comment. Okay. So Steve Googles how to get rich. Google tells him get into real estate. He then Googles how to get into real estate. He kept finding the Burr method and all these other things that cost a ton of money. So he happens upon Steve Trang's podcast, which I still to this day think is one of the best podcasts of all time because it's an hour and a half long of people telling you their journey, how they got their first deal, what does their business look like, how much money are they generating? And Steve does a really phenomenal job interviewing these people, right?
Can I add one thing right there?
Yeah.
Like the best part, if you don't know anything about real estate too, is when he says, what would you do if you only had $500? When he asks people that question and you were going to start out, and he lets them give an explanation of what they would spend that money on and how they get down. That was like it right there too. That was awesome.
So you saw like, who were like your top 3 or 4 people you enjoyed watching?
Oh man. I like, there's like a guy that I like who talked about TV, and he's kind of like a sales coach. His name's Dan. I don't know. I know this isn't how you pronounce his last name, but it's spelled Brault. Dan Bro.
Oh yeah, Dan Bro. It's actually Bro. BRO is how you pronounce it. Dan Bro.
Yeah, Dan Bro.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one. Obviously yours, because that's the
throw mine to the side. I'm the undefeated champion on Steve Trang's podcast, so let's just throw that to the side.
Right, and then I agree to that. No, like I don't know, man. Like,
what about did you see Jerry Norton and all that stuff?
Yeah, you know what? I follow Jerry Norton's YouTube channel also, and I watch his YouTube content, but I've never saw his interview.
Oh God, okay. For some reason I thought you saw Jerry Norton's. Guys, does everybody want to do me a favor? I think everybody on here should do me a favor. We're gonna get everybody to do something for me. Steve Trang, Pace, Morby. Let's do a little. Let's see, 20. I have 2 on here. One's 20,000 and the other one's 26,000. So the first one you saw, I think, I don't remember, but let's pull this up real quick. I have 3 I've done on Steve's, but let's see, window. There we go. No, that's not it. Hold on, I gotta switch this out. Here we go. So I've done 3 on Steve's, but I want to do a 3rd, and so I want you guys to help me get on Steve Trang's podcast a 3rd time. So check this out. I'll give you guys one of them. These are I've done a bunch with Steve, obviously. As you can see, Steve and I have done a bunch of stuff together. But do you remember which one you saw, Steve? Was it the one about the $20,000 a month in cash flow in just 4 months, or was it
No, yeah, it's that one, Pace. The $20,000 in cash flow. That was the first one I watched.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to share that, have everybody share, make a comment here. I want everybody to go on this one and make a comment. And I want everybody to say the same thing. Go on there and say, have Pace come back. Okay. And I want Steve to be like, what the hell? So guys, go there like that video and make a comment down below. Like we have 200 people watching right now. We should have 200 comments. Go to Steve's, that YouTube channel, and go on and make a comment and say, Steve, have Pace come back. Okay. And let's see if we can get Pace to come back. Because this is what happens. Steve Crawford, the gentleman on the screen, sees that podcast. He joins my mentorship, subto.com.
Right.
And within a couple of weeks, maybe 30 days, you get a house under contract in Yuma, Arizona.
Yes.
How did you get that house under contract? And we're going to talk about your first deal. How did you get that first one under contract?
Networking in sub 2. I talked to another guy who was in sub 2 who had a lead in Yuma, and he didn't know what to do with it. And he said that they were open to terms, and that was it. So I he gave me the number and that they were open to terms, and I called the lady and, opened up a conversation with her about what she was willing to do.
So let's go through that deal. Just top level, like high level. I kind of forget the deal. You bought it you gave her some money down. I know you had a lender that came in and helped you out, but how much did you give her down?
$20,000.
Okay. You gave her $20,000 down, and then you had closing costs, and then there was a little bit of renovation. You probably had another miscellaneous, like $7,000 to $10,000, something like that. Right.
Right.
And then you had a private lender. I helped you out with the private lender.
Yes.
So we helped you find a private lender for that $30,000, and you make a payment to that private lender, I think for like $250 a month or something like that.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So your purchase price with the seller was what? Do you remember?
120.
Just 120.
Yes.
So you only owe her $100,000 now.
Right.
How much is that house now worth since you bought it a year ago during COVID?
I don't know. I know I could sell it for probably 150.
Okay. So you've made 30 grand on it in appreciation, which is cool. But the coolest thing about this deal is I think she gave it to you at 0% seller finance, right?
That is the best thing. Yes.
Okay. So you're paying no interest on this. So the seller, for everybody that's just learning this, seller sells Steve the property for $120,000. She becomes the bank. So he makes a payment to her every single month, but his payment has no interest in it. So it pays down every single month. Steve is getting that 100% credit. There's no freaking interest. It's the most powerful part of creative finance is 0% interest. Okay. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge. You don't really see a massive profit right away, but what happens is you blink your eye and all of a sudden, what's your payment every single month?
$416.
So this year you paid her down. Let's see, you've owned that for probably about 12 months. I'd take it somewhere around there. Let's just say.
Yeah, it's getting close.
You've paid her down $5,000. So you built $5,000 in wealth this year just by paying her the mortgage down. Plus the property has appreciated $30,000. So on one deal, you made $35,000. Okay. In 12 months. Okay. Oh. Then here's the other thing. How much money a month in cash flow do you make on this thing net?
Net, after I pay my lender and and everything, I make, let's say, I think it's just under, it's practically $500. It's like 400 and I don't remember, like maybe 490.
Okay. So you net $500. That's after paying the seller. That's after paying your lender. That's after paying all the miscellaneous stuff. You net $500 a month, which means
it's a true $500 a month cash flow.
Right. So, which means you made another $6,000 in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
In just cash flow.
Yep.
Holy shnikes. Okay. So I got $30,000 in appreciation. The property's gone up in value. Okay. So my value's gone up. And I remember at one point you were contemplating selling this on a wrap. And I was like, Steve, absolutely. Actually, this is exactly what happened. You called me and we got on a phone call and Rochelle was telling me something about a deal in Yuma that was not going great because you had some potential person you were going to sell or finance the deal to, and they were being weird with the down payment.
They were weird. They were crazy all around. Yeah.
Right. And then you told me about the deal, and I'm like, Steve, we need to figure out how to you keep this deal. Don't get rid of this deal. And so you're like, well, I don't have a lender. And so I go, let me help you find a lender. And I just calculated this last week. I have helped raise over $6 million for students in the last 12 months. $6 million. You were only 30,000 of it, but we raised another $5,970,000 we raised for other students. Okay. And there was a couple of big projects in there. There's a couple of projects that I raised over $1 million for one project that are working on that I can't talk about until they're done. But when we talk about them, or when they happen, we'll end up talking about them. So we get on the phone. Okay. This is also the power of having a mentor. And this is also the power of having a community that can help you. Is you're like, well, Pace, I'm a freaking chemical pilot, bro. Like, I don't got the 30 grand that it's going to take to get the deal done. So I helped you get the 30,000. I brought the lender to the table, and you've gained not only you've paid down the mortgage $5,000. I don't think you've gotten to the point, Steve, where you've actually utilized depreciation yet, nor do you really need to quite yet, but I'll teach you that when the time comes. So not even counting depreciation, which is huge for a property like this. Okay. You made $41,000 in wealth in 12 months on one stupid mobile home.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Steve, I don't want to like get into like your personal affairs, but how many of these houses a year would you have to do to replace your current income?
Not many. It would like, if I had like 6 or 7, yeah, like if I had 6, it would be like I wouldn't have to work in the 9 to 5 anymore. It's not really a 9 to 5, but I wouldn't have to work the W-2 anymore. Love it.
So that was your first deal, and that was about 12 months ago, and that came from watching Steve Trang's freaking podcast, finding me, joining the mentorship, and then squatting up with one of the other students inside of subto.
Yes.
So this is, again, the power of what we've built in our community, is that you got your first deal not by even having to search for it. You got the first deal by having somebody else bring it to you, and then you implemented creative finance to get the deal done.
Yes.
Melanie Nunez says, one mobile home? Yes. This is one damn mobile home in Yuma, Arizona, where the devil lives. Okay. The devil lives in Yuma, Arizona. It's so freaking hot.
Yeah. It's not a pretty place.
Okay. Everybody, I'm going to go through this one more time because it's super interesting how easy it is for people to miss this. Okay. Let's go through it one more time. He buys the property. Purchase price is $120,000. The seller finances it to him. So this is a seller finance deal. And the seller says to him, you know what, Steve, if you gave me $20,000, I would finance the other $100,000 and you could make me a payment. What's your payment to her again every month?
$416.
Okay. So he pays her $416. That's not a 30-year mortgage. That's probably a 20-year mortgage. Is that right?
Yeah, I asked for the 30, and that was the crazy part. She said, how much will that payment be? So I just calculated it up with 0 interest, and I told her it was like 200 some change, I think. And she said that wasn't enough. So rather than like try and, up the price or anything, I just shortened the term and told her what it would be for over 20 years. Okay,
so he's going to pay this off in 20 years. Because he has 0% interest on this payment. The $416 is 0% interest. Okay. So he is like, I don't have the 20 grand. So he gets a hold of me. I help him find a lender. We get the 20 grand. Plus we got him we got him another $10,000 to do closing costs and a little bit of repairs. And you ended up probably even putting a few $1,000 in your pocket, right? When you put the deal together.
Yeah, I did. Actually, I did pretty good because the house was actually, it didn't need a whole lot. And so I just hired somebody to paint like the garage door because it was flaking, and then do like a paint inside so it looked fresh. And then, just got it rent ready.
Right. So we got him $30,000. Okay. I went and raised the $30,000 for him, and he didn't end up needing all this $10,000 for the deal. So he kept that $10,000, and he probably put anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000 in his pocket. So in what mother freaking world can you get a house seller finance? No, you didn't have to use your credit. You didn't have to use your own money. In fact, Steve, you got paid to do this deal up front.
Well, what's crazy is like if you think about it, I got paid to take a house that cash flows. That's insane. That's the most insane thing ever. It's like one day you don't have anything, and then the next day you have $3,000 in your bank account, and also $500 coming in every month. For
the rest of your life and your children's life, you will make
until 20 years, and then
it goes up. And then also you'll get to guess how many times you'll raise the rent over those 20 years. You'll probably raise the rent 5 to 6 times over those 20 years as well.
Right. But that payment's never going up. So like, that's a beautiful thing.
Okay. It's interesting what people pick up. Like Phil Banks says to me, you started saying something about Jerry Norton, Steve podcast. Bro, I don't know how you picked up on that, but I was just using Jerry Norton as a part of the story. I said exactly what I wanted to say. Okay. I was just saying he was watching other people on Steve Trang's podcast, and he saw Jerry Norton. He saw other people. He ended up running into me. He resonated with what I was saying, and he decided to join my mentorship. So nothing more to say other than that. Benjamin Fabella. How often do these deals happen? Benjamin, all the mother freaking time. All the time. In fact, I'm doing another 0% seller finance deal with Steve Crawford, which is why Steve Crawford is on the show today. I'm trying to get to the point where I can tell you guys a little bit more. Okay. Does this work in rural markets? Carmen, Google Yuma, Arizona. My gosh, Carmen. Carmen, Google Yuma, Arizona. We've only said it 25 times. It's a farming community. It happens all the time. In fact, go watch the breakdown of this house that I just bought. I bought this seller finance I have a portion of seller finance on this house, $1.8 million seller finance for 0% interest. 0% interest happens all the time on mansions all the way down to mobile homes. Okay. What we're talking about with Steve is Steve's first deal. So everybody that's trying to learn wholesale, Steve got his first deal, which still pays him every single month and will continue to pay him for the rest of his life. He did one deal within a couple of weeks of even learning what this was. Okay. Yuma, Arizona is as rural as it gets. It's a farming community where half the community actually leaves in the summertime. It's a snowbird area, right?
Yeah.
So his job, he's a crop dusting pilot. Like that's what they do down there is they freaking grow food. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It happens all the time. It happens in every market. 0% seller finance deals. Steve gets paid not only every single month, but he got paid probably between $3,000 and $6,000 in his pocket when he did this deal. No money out of pocket. In fact, he got paid to put the deal together, and every single month he still gets paid. Okay. So we put the $30,000. We helped him raise the capital with the seller. I'm sorry, for the seller. So in the last year, he's owned this property about 12 months. His cash flow, net, by the way, somebody's going to say, well, what about the net? Guys, it's the net. Okay, we're talking about the New Jersey nets over here. Okay, guys, New Jersey net number is $500 per month. He gets $500 a month net in his pocket. Net.
After everybody's paid.
After everybody's paid, he gets $500 every single month. That's his cash flow. So when you multiply that by 12 months, that equals $6,000. He's made not only did he make $6,000 up front, but for putting the deal together, he made $6,000 last year in just cash flow. Then the property has gained value of $30,000 just by Steve owning it. He didn't even have to do anything to it. You just cleaned it up. I remember I've been to the house. You just cleaned it up.
Yeah. I like I said, I painted the garage door and painted the inside, and that was it. That is literally everything. And I took the curtains down and washed them, and that was everything.
Okay, so you gain value of $30,000. It's now the property you bought for $120 is now worth about $150 to $160. And then the other thing is you paid down the seller about $5,000 as well. So you owe $5,000 less than you did last year because you are paying 0% interest, 0% mother freaking interest.
Right.
Mr. Steve Crawford, crop duster in freaking Yuma, Arizona, who just Googled how to get rich, got his first deal and structured this as his first deal. So when people say, how often does this happen? Happens all the time, guys. It can be your first deal. It can be your 30th deal. These types of deals happen all the time. In fact, I'm going to tell you 2 deals that I'm working on with Steve right now. Okay. One where Steve is actually going to be my partner. Another one he's assigning to me because it's kind of a smaller deal. But in the future, Steve's going to be like one of the largest manufactured home park owners in all of Yuma, Arizona. And your old boss your boss might be asking you for a job one day. Okay. So you paid down the mortgage $5,000. You gained value of $30,000. You got $6,000 in cash flow, and you put $6,000 in your pocket. So you actually made, in the last 12 months, you made $47,000 in wealth in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
On one deal. And guess what? Next year, guess what's going to happen? The value is going to go up. He gets all of that money. The cash flow is going to continue to come in. Steve will get all of that money. He will continue to pay down the lender, and he will get all the credit for that as well. Every single year, Steve is going to make probably between $15,000 to $20,000 in wealth on this thing every single year. Bro, that's crazy. That's your first deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully that catches everybody up to speed that Steve is, and Steve, I don't mean to keep knocking this home. I'm trying to like really, really make sure people understand this. Do you feel like you know everything about creative finance and paperwork and tax depreciation and all this kind of stuff? Or do you feel like you're still kind of starting your journey?
Yeah, I don't. There's like a lot of that I don't understand, like tons of stuff I don't understand.
But your $500 a month cash flow that cash still hits your bank account, right?
Yeah, I know how to spend $500.
Okay, so Steve, let's talk about a deal. Let's talk about that mobile home park that not only are you assigning to me for $30,000, but you're also staying on as a partner with me. How did you find that deal? Was that another JV deal? Was that driving for dollars? How did you find that deal?
That one came from a list that was pulled. I think it was a high equity list. Mm-hmm. And it came from squatting up. I have some like I have an issue like consistently like cold calling and things like that. And
I think everybody has that same exact issue, bro. Just FYI.
Except one dude I know. His name is Michael, and I partnered up with him because he loves cold calling. And so he cold calls, and then I run the numbers on deals, and this was the first deal we got together.
Love it.
So we are partnered up on this one.
Love it. So you're making an assignment fee that's pretty handsome. Are you guys splitting that assignment fee?
Yeah. If it's a creative deal, we split it. I take 75 because I underwrote it and I have all the paperwork and everything. And he brought me the lead, so he takes 25%.
Love it. And you have the relationship with Pace, obviously the buyer. So
Right.
you get paid a little bit more, right? Love it. Okay, cool. So that's a deal that is how many pads of a mobile home park is there?
At that one, there's 32.
Okay, 32 with the ability to extend to how many?
34.
Okay, so you can throw 2 more on it.
Yeah, there's actually one home back there that probably needs a rehab, but there's one already there.
Love it. Okay, so cold calling, you get a hold of a seller, 34 mobile home park. You are going to stay on as a part owner of that one. And I told you this is what I told you and any other student is that if you get a mobile home park and I'm the buyer, I'll leave you on as a partner. And what that means is that you continue to, not only do you get your assignment fee, but you'll actually get cash flow for the rest of your life and ownership. And if we ever exit the deal, you get paid out your percentage of that deal as well. So that is truly squatting up. Steve doesn't want a cold call. He hates it. So he finds somebody else that wants a cold call. Steve gets on the phone with the seller. They work out a deal. And then Steve is like, I don't have the money to buy the mobile home park yet. So I'll go find a buyer. And then because I like Steve and we've done deals together, I go, let's just partner on this and I'll leave you in as an owner. So you structured another deal where you leveraged the power of squatting up and you became an owner on a property with no money out of your pocket. In fact, you got paid up front to become an owner of a mobile home park.
Right. That's crazy. It's like it's like making something out of thin air. It's crazy.
What's your wife think about all this?
Yeah, no, she was pretty happy. Yeah, we celebrated when we landed that contract for sure. We were excited.
Love that. Love that. Love that. So you've got another deal under contract that I'm buying from you as well. And it's another 0% seller finance deal, right?
Right.
Okay. So tell me about that. How did you find that deal? Was that driving for dollars or what was that?
Yes. That one I went driving for dollars and I found that park in probably like an industrial neighborhood.
Yeah, it's very industrial. I've done my research. I actually have a buddy of mine. So check this out. This is the thing I wanted to tell you today. So I have a buddy of mine that lives in Yuma, Arizona.
Oh yeah?
Yep. And he owns 600 doors in Yuma, Arizona. 600 doors. Okay, so
Really?
that's between mobile home parks, apartment complexes, stuff like that. Okay, 600 doors. His name is Tom Cockburn, Yuma, Arizona. Okay. So I reach out to Tommy and I go, hey man, I need a good septic guy. And he goes, oh yeah, what you buying something down here in Yuma? I go, yeah, man, I'm going to take over Yuma. I'm going to chase you down. I'm going to try and get to 500 doors really quick. And he goes, what's the deal? So I send him the address and he goes, man, I've been trying to get that deal for 7 years. And I go, yep. And I go, what'd you try and buy it for? And he goes, well, the problem is I couldn't get a lender to finance me on it. And I was like, well, why didn't you use creative finance? Because that's what we did. And he's like, I never even thought about it. I just was trying to buy it with a loan. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So here's Steve. And then I want to give you props. You have a guy in your market that owns 600 doors that didn't go that. I don't think he went that route of the creative route, and especially didn't go the route of the 0% seller finance route. And he was trying to buy the house at a discount, or the mobile home park. What'd you buy it for? 140 or 180?
180.
So he's been trying to buy it this whole time for $100,000. We bought it for 180, but we got it with 0% seller finance. For me, all day long, I'd rather own it for 180 with 0% seller finance than buy it with cash or with a loan for an interest rate, right? With cash.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, man, you're on the right path. And so everybody that's paying attention, okay, I want everybody to know this. We are going to be doing a massive live next Saturday. Okay. Let's see here. I'm I'm going to do something kind of fun. So next Saturday, we're going to be pulling a nationwide mobile home park list. And I'm going to be sharing it with all of the sub-2 students. It's going to probably cost me somewhere north of $50,000. I'm going to pull a list for the entire nation. Okay. And my purpose in doing this is this. Number one, I want my students to win. And I'm going to give them a $50,000 list that I pay for out of my pocket. But what I also am going to do is I'm going to have all of our audience learn on a live exactly how to pull a mobile home park list. And I am going to pair you up with students who I give the list to so that my students and the non-student audience can JV on these mobile home parks. And they can have the people who are non-students going out and calling and drumming up leads, and then the students can actually close the deals and work the creative finance angle all over the nation. I'm going to be giving this list to 2,000 sub-2 students, and anybody that wants to team up with my students, we are going to be doing a live on Saturday so that you can get access to this list as well. So I'm creating the link right now. Let's see here. Next Saturday, this coming Saturday, 19th, it is going to be at 10 a.m. So guys, if that sounds cool to you, let me know. We're going to be doing, see, Arizona. Perfect. Create the air meet. Just gave away an $180,000 list to the students this morning, Steve. I don't know if I've ever given you that list, the one for all of Maricopa County.
No.
You probably only care about Yuma at this point anyway.
That's the only place I've ever done anything is Yuma. But
okay. All right, guys. So here's a link. It's an air meet link. So this coming Saturday, please look at that link. They get booked out. Once I start talking about this on Instagram, they get booked out in 2 minutes. Okay. Last week we did an air meet. We booked it out. We usually have a cap of 500 people for these air meets. And if I talk about it on social media for 30 minutes, it's completely gone. And then people get pissed off at me. If you go look at my Instagram from last week, people are like, oh, why don't you do it for more people? Why don't you blah, 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 blah. And the reason we do a lot of these air meets, okay, is because air meet allows me to have a private organization of over 500 people, right? So look right there. Mark McCrimmon says, I tried to get into last week's, no chance. Mark, if you have a single brain cell functioning right now, which you do, obviously, I'm just making a point. Make sure you click on this link that I just shared with everybody. It's the air meet for this coming Saturday. I have 270 people or so watching right now between a couple of different streams. You've got some Facebook, you've got some YouTube lives. Guys, click on that link and book out your spot on this air meet because I'm going to be squatting. I'm going to have my students squatting up with the non-students, and I'm going to be giving away a $50,000 list. You guys are going to watch me pull out my American Express and buy this list live. I'm going to have somebody pull this list for me live on this air meet, and then I'm going to give this list away, and I want my students to be squatting up with people so that we can do more and more deals together. If you look at Steve Crawford right here on the screen, this guy is the epitome of squatting up. Okay. His first deal, which he made $47,000 last year on, he'll continue to make $20,000 a year in appreciation, cash flow, and mortgage pay down for the next infinite amount of years. Okay. He got that deal by squatting up. He got this deal that the one he is getting paid an assignment fee and staying an owner of a mobile home park. He's going to get that deal, or he got that deal by squatting up, right? Somebody else cold called the lead. Steve closed it. And so the whole spirit of this air meet that we're going to be doing next Saturday at 10 a.m. Arizona time, the whole spirit of it is for us to squat up as a community and my students to show you what they can do. Okay. So we're going to do that next Saturday, 10 a.m. Arizona time. If you are a student, you'll get the list. If you're not a student, You need to come into that air meet and you need to get linked in with one of my students. Okay. You need to get linked in with one of my students. That is the goal of this. Okay. If you understand this, Horacio Flores, my bro, you guys need to tune into these lives on time. Steve, he already said this. He got 75% of the deal. His cold calling partner got 25%. I love you, Horacio, but you guys got to tune in on time. Okay. We go over all these things. Okay. Make sure you guys register for this air meet, because once I start talking about this on Instagram, what is going to happen? Melanie Nunez says, can I squat up with Steve? Absolutely, Melanie. You absolutely can. Let's see here. A couple of good questions in here. I'm going to jump on them and then we'll get a little bit more into Steve. We're going to do a lighter Sunday service today, guys. We're only going to go till 8, so we got 18 more minutes. The reason I'm going to go light is because I'm going to do a 2-part series. I'm going to have Steve Crawford and myself. Hopefully next week, Steve, or this coming weekend, I'm going to make it down to Yuma, and my wife and my kids are going to come down there with me because I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off from filming. And so I'll come down there. We'll hang out. Maybe we can hang out with the kids and the wives and stuff and go to dinner if you're up for it.
Absolutely.
Except you're going to buy dinner with your $500 cash flow, not me.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. We'll take you to a nice restaurant.
Take me to Arby's, bro. That's where I go every time I go through Yuma.
I don't know why. That place is nasty. But if
okay,
that's
so
where you want to go, man, we'll get some food to go from somewhere else, and we'll meet you at Arby's.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. You guys could do that. A couple of good questions.
Nice restaurant.
Darren Talcott says he's fired about this upcoming Zoom. So Darren, thank you for that, brother. Really appreciate that. If you are a sub-2 student, this is my goal, is I want to recruit non-students for you to help you guys go out and make more calls, make more text messages, and you guys run the world together. Okay. I want to recruit an army underneath you guys as my students who are educated. And look at Steve. Like, Steve admittedly doesn't know everything about creative finance, but he knows enough from the mentorship and he has enough confidence to go out and get stuff done. Like I tell everybody, go make mistakes. We'll work them all out. And Steve just goes out and makes mistakes. Okay. Irene Torres. I love you, Irene. You've been following us for a long time. Your questions are really, really great, but your question also indicates that you are a real estate agent. I'm very sorry to say this. I'm not saying this critically. I'm just saying it's very obvious. You say, I don't understand why, as a seller does 0%. We've talked about this at length. Okay, Irene, we need to get you talking to motivated sellers. Get away from the on-market stuff. We got to get your brain wired around these off-market motivated sellers. Okay, because you would understand every single story when these sellers give us 0% seller finance. You would hear the story and you would go, that makes sense. So it tells me you're not talking to enough motivated distressed sellers that have enough situations on their plate that going with a real estate agent, listing the property on the market, or even selling for cash makes absolutely 0 sense for them. It's the exact opposite. Selling to us on seller finance makes way more sense to them based on the story that they're going through. So we got to help you get better leads and get you in front of motivated sellers that are willing to do this kind of stuff, because it's over and over and over and over. It happens frequently. Okay. Ben Diaz says, I don't want to stop learning this till I can get out there and freestyle finance and mentor others and overwhelm them with value. Absolutely. Okay. Glenn Bennett, this is one of my favorite questions of the day. He says, does the mobile home purchase include the land? Glenn, it's actually the opposite. Okay. So the home that Steve purchased is a mobile home, a fixed, pay attention to that. A fixed means it's attached to the land. Steve owns the home and the land. Okay. In a mobile home park, it's the opposite. You own the land. You don't own the mobile home. Your tenants own their own mobile homes. They bring those mobile homes onto your land and they are leasing your dirt from you. One of the greatest reasons why a mobile home park is amazing is because you're not responsible for the repairs of a mobile home you don't own. All you're doing is letting them park their mobile home on your dirt. You are renting your dirt to these tenants. If something bad goes wrong with their toilet or their electrical, or the thing burns down, or they have cats or dogs or whatever in their mobile homes, do you think we care? No, we don't care at all. Not even one little bit. Okay. Mobile home parks are absolutely the future of creative finance over the next 5 years. And the reason being, and I'm going to tell Steve this, I don't know that Steve actually knows this, but Steve, with Biden in office and these capital gains that are coming out, all these sellers are going to be way more, they're going to desire to sell in seller finance way more. And if you're a sub-2 student, you know why. I brought in Toby Mathis from Anderson Business Advisors. We've talked about when you do a carryback or an installment sale with a seller, you can help them avoid a lot of the tax or spread that tax way, 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 way out in the future. Okay. So you got a lot of these sellers, like the seller on, what's the street name? Is it Alamo?
Yes.
So the seller that's just sold the newest mobile home park, that seller, I can tell you right now, is like, I want to sell and I want to get the number I want, but I also am fearful of capital gains and all these other things. So I'm going to sell to you on an installment sale so I don't have to pay all those crazy taxes right up front. Okay. So everybody understand the power of mobile home parks. It's insane that the cash flow that you receive off these, you get to keep 90% of it because you don't have repairs and maintenance and all these other issues. Okay. So Rob Robbins, good to see you in here. So good to see you in here. How much does it cost to become a sub-2 student? Can it be seller financed? Tony P, don't become a sub-2 student. Okay. Just work with my students. Bring my students all the deals and they'll help you out with those deals. Okay. Don't worry about that. If you got to, what can I tell you about down payment arbitrage? Aaron Strack, that sounds like a Sean Terry strategy. We are talking about down payment arbitrage. It's called selling on a wrap. Okay. Down payment arbitrage is something that Sean Terry took the wording of something that's been around for 100 years and he changed it to something that makes sense to people's brains. Down payment arbitrage. It's selling on a wrap. We talk about it frequently. In fact, we did a wrap Zoom, or we did a wrap Sunday service like 2 months ago. We do those a lot, except I actually talked Steve. If you go back in the very beginning of this podcast, I talked Steve out of selling his first deal on a wrap because I think down payment arbitrage is a horrible strategy for building wealth. It's good to get a deal done, but for building wealth, Steve would not have made that $47,000 last year. He would have made like $3,000 or $4,000 arbitraging the deal. And the deal would have ended right there and he wouldn't be in the middle of the deal anymore. So down payment arbitrage, it's a great strategy, but not for building long-term wealth. And ultimately, everybody on here, 250 plus people, are not in here to do 1 or 2 deals. They're in here to have financial freedom. Now, my goal with Steve Crawford is I want Steve to be by the end of this year completely financially free, and I'm going to help him get to that point. And I want to show you guys how easily it can be done through mobile home parks. Okay. So Saturday, everybody, I'm going to give you the link on AirMe. Who has not signed up? Give me a comment in the side and say, I have not signed up. Okay. All right, check it out. So Lisa Edwards, great question. What do you do for insurance on mobile home parks? Just liability. Yeah. So I don't have to insure the mobile homes because I don't own the mobile homes, right? I own the land. And so I get general liability on all the land. And there actually is a specific insurance policy that you get when you own a mobile home park, but it's essentially just general liability. Great question. George Reyna says, never even thought to consider mobile home investing. Excited to learn. Yeah, I mean, it's great. You don't have to worry about a tenant. Does your tenant ever bother you on your first deal, Steve, or not really?
Well, no, I got extremely lucky with that. Like he's a military guy and he's like lives alone and he just wants to be left alone. He takes care of the house. He doesn't ask me for anything, but I know that there are like tenant horror stories out there, but I don't have that issue with my guy.
Let's see here. Enrique Espinoza, Pace, you should do a challenge. First to $20,000 monthly cash flow with creative finance. We have a lot of students that have reached that. I reached that in 4 months when I started doing creative finance heavily. That whole podcast with Steve talks about that. We are way, 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 way past that. I have one Airbnb, one house. We talked about this 2 weeks ago on Sunday service. One house makes me $10,000 a month. One house makes me $10,000 a month. Not in income, but my personal take home is over $10,000. $10,300 was last month's take home on one house. I bought it seller finance. I turned it into an Airbnb. Getting to $20,000 cash flow you can do it pretty quickly. Okay. Lawrence Schwartz says, how do you get a private lender to agree to a second lien position on a seller finance deal? Lawrence, I would work with one of the students that has watched the raising private capital Zooms and how I structure private lenders into my deals, how I convince private lenders to jump into second position on my deals. One of the students can help you either A, find the content that you need, or B, walk you through how it's done. It's very simple. Okay. Justin Canberra, they say, Steve, congrats on the deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Steve, you're frozen again. Steve's frozen, but that's all right. We're going to wrap this show up. Guys, what I want you guys to do is I want you to sign up for the air meet. Okay. Sign up for the air meet next Saturday. So before Sunday service, next Saturday, we're going to be going through and doing, there he is. Sorry, you froze again.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Next Saturday. What we're going to do is we're going to get you a laptop once we get this next deal closed. How about that?
Yeah, that's definitely a plan.
Let's see here. Casey Jenkins says, Scott and I will be attending Saturday's air meeting. Owning a mobile home park is on our list of goals in building wealth. Can't wait for Saturday. I look forward to it. I want everybody squatting up with each other. This is the community we're trying to build here, right? I want everybody squatting up with each other. Let's take a look at this real quick. Let's see how many people I've got registered for this already. It's going to be a small amount because it's interesting how little people take action. And then it's like right when it is going to go live, it sells out in like 2 seconds. Okay. We actually had a pretty good amount of people. We had 140 people register for it, but we have 270 people watching. So only half the people signed up for the air meet. I'm always curious why that is. I'm giving away a 50,000 person list. I'm sorry, a $50,000 list. I'm going to pull out my Amex on a live air meet, buy this list and give it away. And you still only have half the people sign up for the air meet. Isn't that crazy, Steve?
Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm signed up.
It's like, what is it? And I think people think like I'm there to sell. Every single time I do like a Robert Allen. Did I sell anything on the Robert Allen air meet? Did I email you guys and try and sign you up for some affiliate or do anything crazy? Or do I just give crazy value for hours on end? I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to get you guys to do some freaking deals. So if you're not signed up, it's because you are bonkers. And what's going to happen is I'm going to go on Instagram tomorrow and I'm going to tell everybody about this air meet we have coming up on Saturday, and it's going to book out in 4 seconds. Okay. Like the last one did. We had 980 people hit the server in like literally 10 seconds, and it shut the server down. Okay. So if you haven't signed up for the air meet, and check this out. What is it? She says, Trina Lawson says, no, Robert Allen was awesome. I brought Robert Allen to you guys. I had all the ability to sell you something. I don't even know what I would sell you. And by the way, I tell you guys all the time, don't sign up for my mentorship. Work with my students. I'm not here to sell you anything. I want you guys to do deals together. So Steve, who is my student, Steve, how can people reach you? Do they reach out to you on Instagram, or how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, Instagram's good. Or yeah, message me on Instagram, and we can talk there.
What is your Instagram?
It's Steven Crawford, REI.
I think you should change it to the crop dusting real estate investor.
The crop dust. All right, that's what I'll do.
I'm just kidding.
I take all advice literal, so tomorrow that's what it'll be.
So, guys, give Steve Crawford some love. We did a shorter Sunday service tonight, and the reason being is because I'm gonna have Steve Crawford come back potentially next Sunday when I'm in Yuma. I might do a live Sunday service with Steve. If not, I'll have Steve come back in a couple of weeks after we close one of these deals to talk about the breakdown of the deal, give you guys the address, because there's some really, really cool things coming up in the pipeline with Steve on these deals, but I don't want to talk about them until they're closed, and I don't want to give you guys the address, but that's my favorite thing to do is bring up an address, pull it up on the screen, show you guys exactly, when it closed, what the paperwork looked like, all of those types of things. So we'll bring Steve back. Helping Hand says, will it be recorded, the mobile home class? No, none of my air meets are recorded. You either show up or you miss out. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get people to show up to my things live, because there is the most important part of these lives is the side comments and the side chat. You get to know everybody in the side. Okay. You get to find people to squat up with. I want you guys to show up to these air meets so that you can get to know each other in the side chat, not just to get value. Yes, the value is there, but the value is basically lubricant for you guys to come in and network with each other. Okay. So Steve Crawford, REI, right? On Instagram.
Yeah. Steve Crawford, REI.
Let's see here. Let's see if I got any more people to sign up for this thing. It's crazy how little people will actually sign up for stuff. After I went on that rant, I got 17 more people to show up. Literally 120 people that are watching this right now have not signed up for that free air meet. 120 people. My gosh. All right, guys. Appreciate you. This was a good Sunday service, breaking down this deal for Steve Crawford, giving you guys an understanding of how easily it is to get into this business. All you have to do is Google how to get rich.
Yep.
That's step one.
Consistently try. That's it.
Exactly. So, guys, we're going to have Steve come back here in a couple of weeks after we close these other mobile home parks. And I want you guys to also know that if you're a non-student, I want you to DM Steve Crawford, because once I give this list to Steve, Steve is going to give you guys parts of this list so that you guys can work these leads and bring him leads and bring other students leads so that you guys can have my students close your mobile home parks all over the country. This is not just for Yuma, Arizona. This is nationwide. This is all over the nation. So appreciate you guys. Steve, you got any final words?
Yeah, I think that it's all about squatting up. Every deal I've done has involved squatting up, and it's all involved the sub 2 mentorship in one way or another, every single one of them. So I think squat up with people in the sub 2 mentorship if you're not in it. And if you have things that you're not good at, squat up with somebody who is good at those things and fill in the holes where they have holes and get things done. That's what I've done with my partner, and it's worked out. We've got two parks down.
Yeah, just in 30 days. Just wait for the next 6 months, my bro.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
I'm excited.
Steve, you're the man. Everybody watching, thank you so much for tuning into Sunday service. We will see you next week.